side nyo. Okay? Okay, no? So para dun sa medyo mahina yung connection, so this is also yung sa link din, no, para sa ating YouTube live stream, no. So yung link, no, if mahina yung connection nyo, so pwede nyo itong maano din. Tapos after discussion, automatic po yun na naka-record na, no, sa link na yun. Okay, so PEC Part 2, no, the Philippine Electrical Code Part 2. So meron po itong it was tawag doon, na-publish ito last 2020. So basically, no, at the start of the RME exam ng 2021 up to now, so isinama na tong edition na to ng PEC Part 2, no? So if yung mga nakapag-take dati, if mayroong mga provisions, no, na hindi nyo nakita sa PEC Part 1, no, kung may lumabas na question doon na hindi nyo nakita sa PEC Part 1, so it is most likely na yung mga questions na yun ay galing sa PEC Part 2, no? So PEC Part 2 has 5 chapters, no, more or less 5 chapters. So bawat chapter ng PEC Part 2 pertaining to installation outside buildings, no? So it is part of the the code na kung saan ginagamit ng ating mga distribution utility company, no? So yung part 1 sa loob ng ating buildings, no? Kung tayo mag-i-install doon, yun yung para sa PEC part 1. But itong part 2 sa labas na, no? Including yung standard for yung mga street lights natin. Okay? So unahin muna natin yung purpose nito, no? So the purpose of PEC part 2 is the practical safeguarding of persons, utility facilities, and unaffected properties during the installation, operation, maintenance of electrical supply and communication facilities under specified conditions, no? So lahat ng mga installations na nasa labas, no, either that is electrical supply or communications facility, yan ay sakop ng PEC Part 2, no? So katulad ng PEC Part 1, safeguarding pa rin ng mga persons and facilities and other property na affected, no? So PEC Part 2 contains the basic provisions under specified conditions that are considered necessary for the safeguarding of the public, the utility workers and contractors, the utility facilities, electrical supply and communication equipment connected to the utility facilities. So ibig sabihin nito yung mga transformer kasama yung mga broadband box, no, yung mga box for the fibers. Kasakop na yan sa PEC Part 2. And other facilities or premises adjacent to or containing utility facilities. So including dito yung mga substation, no? Okay? So PEC 2 rules are intended to provide a standard of safe practices for electric cooperatives, public and private utilities, utility commissions, or other boards or bodies having control over safe practices employed in design, installation, operation, and maintenance of electrical supply, communication, street area lighting, signal, railroad utility facilities. So sakop dito, no? All of the operations including the design and installations of communication, electric supply, no? So yung ating supply of electricity, communication natin, yung street and area lighting, no? So yung mga street light natin, signaling, so kasama yung mga transmitters and the railroad, no? Railroad utility facilities. So yung dinaanan ng ating mga tren, no? This code is not intended as a design specification or an instructional manual. So this is only for the guidelines, no? Mga guidelines in order to assure that our installation in this particular areas are safe, no? Hindi siya pwedeng gamitin as parang manual, no? Hindi siya pwedeng gamitin, no? Okay? So ito yung diagram, no, for the scope of the Philippine Electrical Code Part 1 and 2, no? So yung Part 1, so pagkalampas na dito sa premises wiring, no? Kunyari dito banda yung metro, pagdating doon sa serving point, palabas diyan, no, yung ating service drop, yan na yung sakop ng Philippine Electrical Code Part 1. Tapos disconnecting main, tapos papunta sa ating sa ating load o sa bahay o sa building. Yung galing doon sa sa pinaka-supply ng kuryente papunta doon sa paglabas sa metro, tapos yung yung sa service dito, no, yung ating breaker sa metro. Yan ay sakop ng PEC Part 2. So kaya dito dalawa. Sa serving point, meron tayong utility. So ito yung ating distribution utility. So example of that is yung Meralco. Habang itong premises wiring naman is part na ng wiring ng ng may-ari o ng bahay, yung premises wiring. So mainly this is the service drop. If naka-underground naman, tawag natin doon service lateral. Okay, so PEC covers supply and communication facilities, including metering and associated work practices employed by public or private electrical supply, communication, railway, trolley, street and area lighting, traffic signal, irrigation, or other community-owned utility or a similar utility in the exercise of its function as a utility. So dito klarong-klaro yung scope ng PEC Part 2, no? Supply and communication facilities kasama yung metering ng ating mga utility company. Even the associated work practices, no, kahit pa yung yung utility company is a public or a private entity, no? So kasama din yung kahit yung ating communications services, no, either it is public or private. So doon papasok yung ating mga broadbands, yung mga fiber, yung ating cable TV, no? So kasama ito sa communication. So yung sa railway, no, yung sa NCR, yung sa tawag doon sa MRT, sa LRT, no, doon papasok yung PEC Part 2. Trolley, no, yung street and area lighting, traffic signal, no. So that will follow the standards set forth by the Philippine Electrical Code Part 2. Pati yung mga pumping for irrigation district, yung mga pumping station ng mga ng mga water district yan doon. So yung lahat ng mga installation noon will belong to PEC Part 2 if that installations are done outside a building or outside sa building ng mga utility company na yon. Okay, the generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity, lumens, communication signals, and communication data through public and private utility systems that are installed and maintained under the exclusive control of utilities or their authorized representative. No? So generation. So galing sa planta, sa transmission na natin from EGCP, then distribution of electricity. So um, basically when it comes to generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity, so meron tayong dalawang code for that one. No? So before pa nabuo tong PEC Part 2, meron na tayong PGC at PDC, no? Susuot ko lang dito. PGC. Okay, PGC. So the PGC is the Philippine Grade Code, no? So itong Philippine Grade Code, ito yung sinusunod ng mga transmission company, no? Sa atin isa lang yung transmission company natin, which is the NGCP, no? The National Grid Corporation. So ito yung sinusunod because it contains the standards, no, on the on the transmission, no, the transmission system, including yung mga rate, no, yung frequency na kailangan lang i-transmit, the voltages na kailangan i-transmit. So ito yung Philippine Grid Code. Habang sa mga utility company naman, we have the PDC or the Philippine Distribution Code, no? Okay. So Philippine Distribution, yan, code, no? Yan. So yung dalawang code na ito, itong dalawang code na to will be focusing doon mismo sa operations ng ating transmission at ng ating distribution. No? The operations including the standards on the tawag doon, spacing of our wires, no? Tapos yung sa mga height ng poste, ganun. So they are focused on that. Yung sa PEC 2 will only cover the safe installations and the design of the system, no? So Kapag kunyari, 'pag gusto nating malaman kung ano yung standard frequency for a transmission line, 250 volts at 250,000 volts, no? So doon tayo sa PGC. If we want to know kung ano yung mga safety precautions na dapat nating sundin when we are going to have installation on high voltage lines, so dito tayo sa PEC2. Yan. So ang Philippine Grid Code at ang Philippine Distribution Code is specific, whereas the PEC2 only covers the general principle, especially if that principle pertains to the safety, no, ng pag-i-install ng mga electrical installation outside the building. Yan. So kaya ang kadalasang laman ng Philippine Electrical Code Part 2 are all clearances, no? Clearances tapos equipment required or PPE required kung mag-i-install ka in outside buildings. Tapos utility facilities and functions of utility facilities or the utilities, either that is to generate energy or signals or accept energy or signals from another entity and provide that energy or signals through a delivery point to another entity. Yung kasama sa scope nila is street and area lights that provide a supply of lumens where these facilities are supplied by underground or overhead conductors installed and or maintained under exclusive control of utilities. So including yung mga authorized subcontractor for this type of installation. So dapat sundin niyo yung provisions ng PEC Part 2. Okay. Also, we have the utility facilities and functions on the line side of the service point. So doon sa supply side ng ating service point, wiring within a supply station or in underground facility to installed in accordance with Chapter 1 or Chapter 3 of this code or necessary for the operation of supply station or underground facilities. Tapos, utility facilities installed, maintained, and controlled by utilities, no, on surface or underground mine sites, including overhead and underground distribution system, no? Tapos, similar system to those listed above that are under exclusive control of qualified persons and authorized by a regulating or controlling body, including those associated industrial complex or utility interactive system. So mamaya malaman natin kung ano ibig sabihin itong utility interactive system sa mga definition of terms, no, for this code. So ano yung hindi covered, no? Basically yung lahat ng nasa loob ng building, no? So utilization equipment or premises wiring located beyond the utility service point, no? So sinabi ko kanina, yung nasa loob na ng building or pupunta na sa loob ng building after dun sa metro, no? So hindi na kasama sa PEC Part 2. Underground mine wiring or installation in ships, railway rolling equipment, or automotive equipment, or luminaires not installed or maintained under exclusive control of utilities, o yung mga ilaw na hindi gagamitin for street lighting, no? Tapos industrial complex or utility interactive system that are not controlled exclusively under utilities or qualified persons or located on the premises wiring side of the service point. Okay. So you have types of requirements. So ano yung mga required, no, under this code. So these rules specify loadings factors related to the required strength of utility structures and supported facilities. So kasama dito yung mga rules with regard kung gaano katibay yung ating mga poste, including the support or the spacing of the support ng ating mga distribution lines or transmission lines. Clearances and spacing between facilities of different utilities, facility of the same utility, and utilities and public facilities. So, clearance ng mga wires, no? For example, communication and distribution wires sa poste. So, ano yung clearance sila? No, kasi yung sa Philippine Electrical Code Part 1, yung sinasabi doon na installation between the electrical tapos communication, covered nun if yung poste is nasa loob na mismo ng area ng building. So that is what we call as a private post. So hindi na yan kasama doon sa PEC Part 2 kasi labas na siya sa service point. So yung Part 1 na naman yung gagamitin doon, no? But basically, no, the same clearance is applied, no? So pareho yung clearance. So ang inaano dito is iba kapag nasa labas na ng service point kasi part 2 na. Kapag nasa loob ng service point, nasa loob ng premises wiring, part 1 na yung gagamitin. Tapos grounding, no? Grounding ng ating mga distribution lines at including the post, no? And other requirements related to the safeguarding of persons and facilities, including associated safe work practices to be employed by a utility in the exercise of its function as a utility after the service point. Okay. So utilities operating under PEC2 are required to maintain control over the system up to the service point to assure that the system is engineered to meet the requirements of expected conditions. So what does it mean? So if the required output or if the required system voltage of a certain building is 230, so it is assured, no, if we follow the PEC2, na yung talagang output doon is 230, na hindi siya magkakaroon ng under voltage or over voltage. So yan ibig sabihin ng letter A. Tapos the personnel installing, maintaining and operating the system and its components are qualified to do so, are adequately supervised, follow accepted engineering practices, and use appropriate tools and safe work procedures. So, ano ibig sabihin nito? So, yung mag install are all following safety procedures, no? Tapos qualified, no? Or under the supervision of a qualified personnel. Okay. So general rules, no? So these are the general rules, no, na makikita sa buong code ng ng PC Part 2. All electrical supply and communication lines and equipment shall be designed, constructed, or operated and maintained to meet the requirement of these rules. So may mga clearances, may mga spacing. So dapat kung ano nakalagay doon, dapat sundin lahat ng mga electrical supply at communication lines. The utilities, authorized contractors, or other entities as applicable performing design, construction, operation, or maintenance tasks for electrical supply or communication lines or equipment covered by this code shall be responsible for meeting applicable requirements. No? So it is the responsibility of the utility company or yung mga contractors doing this type of installation to meet the requirements ng code. Kapag hindi, then we will be subjected to malpractice. No? For all particulars not specified in this rule, construction maintenance shall be done in accordance with accepted good practices for given local condition known at the time by those responsible for the construction or maintenance of communication or electric supply lines and equipment. So applications, no? So this code is applicable to new installation and extension. So this rule shall apply to all new installation and extensions except that they may be waived or modified by the administrative authority. So when so waived or modified, safety shall be provided in other ways. So pwedeng mag-waive nito is the only authority, for example, sa ating DO, Distribution Utility. So the only authorized authority na pwedeng mag-waive nito is the NEA, no, National Electrification Authority. So they could waive this application of the Philippine Electrical Code provided that when they waive na, no, na hindi to susundin, so they will have another way on doing the installation in a safe manner. So types of constructions and method for installation other than those specified in the rules may be used only if qualified supervision is provided, equivalent safety is provided, and on joint use facilities, all affected joint users are notified in a timely manner. Existing installation. So where an existing installation meets or is altered to meet these rules, such installation is considered to be compliant, no, with this edition. It is not required to comply with any previous edition. Then existing installation including maintenance replacement that currently comply with prior editions of the code need not to be modified, no, to comply with these rules. So kunyari, merong mga installation na ginamit yung previous edition. The previous edition was way back 2000, no, 2000 yung previous edition nito. So hindi na kailangan pang i-modify yung ganong installation to meet these rules, no? Where conductors equipment are added, altered, or replaced on an existing structure of facilities on the structure not to be modified or replaced, if the resulting installation will be in compliance with the rules that were in effect at the time of the original installation, or on the subsequent edition of this code, or the rules of this edition in accordance with this one above. Okay, then inspection and work rules. Inspection and work rules in concurrent edition of the PEC Part 2 shall apply to inspection of work on all new and existing installation. So, ang i-inspect lang na gagamitin yung PEC Part 2 is yung new and existing installation. So, waiver. So, the person responsible for an installation may modify or waive rules in the case of emergency or temporary installation. So, if may emergency or temporary installation, pwede i-waive, no, yung mga rules, no, ng ang Electrical Code Part 2. Okay. So, emergency installations, no? So, ito yung sasabi, the clearance required for this one may be decreased for emergency installation. The boreal depth for Chapter 4, no? So, kung ano kalalim yung dapat boreal depth for underground installations will be waived for the duration of the emergency. And the strength of materials for construction shall be not less than the required grade N, no, grade N yung sa construction, and shall be removed, replaced, or relocated as desired as soon as practical. So, temporary overhead installation. When an installation is temporary or where facilities are temporarily relocated to facilitate other work, the installation shall meet the requirements for non-temporary installation, except that the strength of the materials and construction shall not be less than the required grade in construction. Yan. So, intent, no? The word shall, no, parang katulad dun sa ating sa ating PC Part 1, kapag shall yung word that is mandatory. Should indicates provision that are normally and generally practical for specified conditions. However, the word should is used, it is recognized that in certain instances, additional local conditions not specified herein may make provisions impractical, no? Footnotes to a table have the same force and effect required or allowed by the rules that specify the use of the table. Then the word exception indicates a specified option that may be substitute for one or more requirements stated in the rule or the table of the option of the utility. So exception to a rule have the same force and effect required or allowed by the rule which the exception applies. So basically parang ano lang, no, we have a certain law tapos mayroong exception. So yan yung mga ibig sabihin ng mga wordings na ito. If that is a recommendation, so it is considered to be desirable pero hindi siya mandatory. If the word note or example used in a rule indicates a material provided information or illustrative purposes. So ito yung sa ating PC Part 1 na FPN, no? Yung fine print notes. Pero dito sa sa PEC Part 2, wala tayong fine print note, no? Ang tawag dito, ang nilalagay lang nila is note or example. Okay? So notes and example are not mandatory and not considered to be part of the requirements. Okay, a recommendation, exception, or note applies to all texts in the preceding rule that has the same indentation. Okay, authority. So sino ba yung nag-authorize, no, for this code to be adopted? So this code has been approved and adopted by the Board of the Electrical Engineering of the Professional Regulatory Commission. So this is under or following the RA 7920. So the BEE hereby directs strict adherence to the provision of this code, no? Where the uh, deviations from necessary provisions, no, may be needed, such division shall not made except when written permission from the code enforcing authority or to the BEE kasi sila yung nag-enforce, and shall be applicable only to the particular job for which such permission was granted. Okay, enforcement, no? So this code is intended for mandatory application by government bodies exercising legal jurisdiction over electrical installation. Yan. So katulad pa rin ng ng enforcement for PEC Part 1. So yung mga government bodies. So sa atin doon lang sa sa PEC Part 1, so in-specify talaga doon na ang magi-enforce is the OBOEE or the Office of the Building Official na electrical engineer. So these government bodies will have the responsibility of this code in deciding on the approval of equipment and materials and for granting the special permission contemplated in this code. Okay, so where it is assured the equivalent objectives can be achieved by establishing and maintaining effective safety. Okay, so interpretation. So in case if the controversy of any provision of PEC Part 2 will arise, so the BEE, upon the recommendation of the Code Committee, shall render the final interpretation. So hindi katulad dun sa sa PEC Part 1 na yung may conflict. So una muna is yung sa qualified person, yung sa licensed electrical practitioner yung magde-decide. Tapos pag hindi napagsang-ayunan, so yung gumawa ng PEC Part 1, yung PEC 1 Code Committee, yung magsasabi kung ano yung tama. Tapos ang final is yung BEE or Board of Electrical Engineers. Dito, so ang gagawin lang if there's a conflict arises, ibibigay lang sa PEC Part 2 Code Committee, yung gumawa ng PEC Part 2, ang conflict. Tapos sila yung magre-recommend sa BEE to render the final interpretation. So walang tatlong level, no? Isang level lang na kung saan yung code committee yung magsasabi sa BEE na dapat yung desisyonan tong conflict na to. Yan. Yan pinagkaiba ng PEC Part 1 at PEC Part 2. Okay. So the effectivity date, no? So the edition may be used at any time or after the publication date. Additionally, this edition shall become effective no later than the first day of the month after 180 days have elapsed following its application or publication. So it was published on, nakalagay dito sa October 2021, no? So kaya it was considered to be effective, no? So while it is at 6 months noong 2022. Ito na yung sinusunod, no? So date of effectivity sa nakalagay is doon sa 2022 na siya kasi considered 180 days. Yan. Okay? So for the measurements, so numerical values in the requirements of this code are in same sa PEC1 SI. So yung length distances are either in kilometer, no, km, pakitkin to km, meter, no, m, or in millimeter. On the other hand, Newton is the unit for force while Pascal is the unit for pressure. So for practical purposes, length less than a meter are in mm. So if the standard, for example, the clearance, no, is 300 mm, so the reason kung bakit nakalagay doon is not 0.3 meters kasi yung standard na yun is hindi lumagpas ng 1 meter. So kaya in-express siya as mm, no? If in case the length or the distance or the spacing of certain wires is not is not above 1 kilometer. So, hindi sila lagpas ng 1 kilometer. So, those are those are expressed in meters. So, kapag lumagpas na ng 1 kilometer, so that those will be expressed in kilometer. Now, okay? So, the dimension of the physical items referenced in this code, such as wires and ground rods, are normal values or nominal values assigned for the purpose of convenient designation. So, katulad din ng ating part 1, so may mga nominal values din. So, due to manufacturing limitation or other constraints, other standards may be set as tolerances, variations, or ranges for the dimension of such items. Kaya may plus and minus dito na ilang mm or ilang newton kapag those type of materials are varied, no, depending doon sa gumagawa, no, sa manufacturing, no. Okay. So the values stated in this code ensure that the intended levels of safety are provided. However, the values specified in any system of measurement may be used, or other values of the system may be intermixed, provided the intended levels of safety as required by this code is attained. So, for example, if gusto nating gamitin is in inches, no? Kunyari yung tawag doon, yung naka-mm sa code na to, i-convert natin into feet or inches. So, pwede as long as it is the direct equivalent, tapos nasusunod pa rin yung safety. Okay? Yan. Okay, so we have now the questions, no? Questions muna tayo. Okay? In the context of electrical supply and communication facilities, what is the primary purpose of the Philippine Electrical Code Part 2? Okay, so just put your answers on our chat box, no? Okay, no? So the correct answer is letter D, no? So katulad pa din nung purpose ng PEC Part 1. Ang pinagkaiba lang is nilagyan ng utility facilities and affected property. Okay. Okay, next. Why are dimensions of physical items referenced in this code, no, sa PEC Part 2, such as wires and grounds, considered to be nominal values? So bakit siya nominal values, hindi yung exact value? So ano yung reason ng PEC Part 2? So it has something to do with the manufacturing company. Okay, so the correct answer is letter D, to facilitate convenient designation. So kasi yung mga manufacturing company hindi nakadepende sa manufacturing company, so pwedeng may tolerance na plus and minus, no, yung mga sizes, no. So kaya sinasabi siyang nominal value, so that is to have a convenient designation, no. So kapag sinabi ito yung size, kahit pa ilang percent yung tolerance do sa actual, so it will be considered part of that nominal value. Yan. Okay, next question. What is the unit for force in the international system of unit, no, which is adopted by our PEC Part 2? Okay. Okay, the correct answer is letter C, no? Newton. Okay. Next. According to the code, for practical purposes, length less than a meter are expressed in what unit? So, yung bababa sa meter daw. So, ano yung kanyang unit? Okay, so the correct answer is letter C, no? In millimeter. Okay, next. According to the information provided, no? Who has the authority to approve and adopt this code? So, sino yung nag-adapt at nag-approve sa Philippine Electrical Code? Okay, so the correct answer is BEE, no, the Board of Electrical Engineering. Okay, next question. Under what circumstances can the rules of new installation extension be waived or modified? And what is the conditions for such action? So, alin dito yung answer? Okay, so the correct answer, no, syempre yung pinakamataas, letter C, no? The rules can be waived or modified by the administrative authority provided that safety is ensured through alternative means. Okay. Who is primarily responsible for enforcing and approving equipment and materials in accordance with this code, no? Sa PEC Part 2. Sino yung responsible, no, for enforcing the regulations and approving the equipment and materials? Okay, no? So the correct answer is government bodies with legal jurisdiction. So letter C. Okay, next. In the context of existing installation and compliance with the different editions of the code, what is the condition under which existing installation is not required to comply with any previous edition? So existing na ano na condition installation. So ano ang reason for them na hindi na dapat mag-comply dun sa previous edition for the existing installation? Okay, so the correct answer is letter A, if it meets the current edition's rules after alterations. Okay, next. What does the PEC2 primarily cover in terms of electrical and utility systems? So sa PEC Part 2, ano yung cover niya? Okay, so the correct answer is letter C. No? It covers electrical utility system under the exclusive control of utilities. No? Okay, next. So now we will go to the definitions. No? So definition. So these are all the definition or the important terms na makikita natin sa PEC Part 2. So we'll start with administrative authority. So the government authority exercising jurisdiction over application of this code. No? So sa PEC Part 1, ang katulad nito is the um, authority having jurisdiction, yung AHG. But for PEC Part 2, ang tawag sa kanila is administrative authority. So sila yung nag-enforce ng PEC Part 2. So either that is the the NEA, no, or the ERC, pwede din yung sa Office of the Building Official or the DPWH. Then the ampacity, so same pa rin yan sa definition ng ampacity sa PEC Part 1. So the current carrying capacity expressed in amperes of an electric conductor under stated thermal conditions. No? Kasi yung ating ampacity, it depends on the ambient temperature. So iba yung ampacity for THHN, TW at THW having the same size. Bakit? So it is due to the ambient temperature, yung temperature rating ng ating wire. Anchorage, so ito bago to sa wala to sa PEC Part 1. So a secure point attachment to which the fall protection system is connected. So anchorage. So ito yung connection ng ating mga harnesses, no? So fall protection system. So that is to ensure that the the installer, no, yung technician is properly secured at kapag in case na magkaroon ng accident, so hindi siya basta-basta mahuhulog. Area lighting, an electrical installation that provides lumens on public or private property. So basically yung ating mga street lights. Then you have authorized person, a person who has been authorized by the controlling utility or its designate representative to perform a specific or specified duties in or in the vicinity of the utility facilities as applicable. For example, may ano tayo, poste, no? So, yung mga linemen natin, they are considered as authorized person because they are given the authority by our DU, the the distribution utility company to work, no, on on that um on that facility, no, or that structure. So ang tawag sa kanila is authorized person. So it doesn't mean that if you are in an authorized person, so you must be licensed, no? As long as you are designate, no, by the controlling utility, no? So meron kang designation or part ng trabaho mo, so you are considered as authorized person. Okay? Then automatic, no? Self-acting, operating by its own mechanism when actuated by some impersonal influence. So katulad pa din yung sa definition sa PC Part 1. So there, for automatic system, there is no need for human intervention. No? It could be through through processes, through signals, no? So ano lang siya na there is no human intervention. Ang opposite ng automatic is non-automatic or dito sa PEC Part 2 ang tawag is manual. Okay? Then another definition, backfill. So materials such as sand, crushed stones, or soil that are placed to fill the excavation. So bakit kasama to? Kasi yung mga kasama din sa PEC poste. So dapat alam din ng mga the standard types of backfill, no? Then bus section or for this is for railroads, a section of material generally trap rack that provides support under railroad tracks. So, 'di ba, kapag napansin niyo sa mga release ng ating ng ating trend, no, yung sa PNR, sa MRT, sa LRT, so may mga rack doon sa lalim ng release. So, the purpose of that one is to provide support. So, ang tawag diyan is bow section, no? Bonding. So, the electrical and interconnecting of conductive parts. So, basically, pareho pa rin to ng definition for PEC Part 1, no? Yung connections ng metal to metal. So, that is what we called as bonding. So, that is to ensure a conductive path, no? Cable, a conductor with insulation or a stranded conductor with or without installation and other coverings, or a combination of conductors insulated from one another. So basically, yung cable is yung mismong wire na ginagamit natin sa installation, either sa distribution or sa transmission. So ang tawag doon sa kanila is cable. Cable jacket, no? So a protective covering over the insulation core or sheet of a cable, no? Tapos yung cable sheet naman is a conductive protective covering applied to cables. Okay. Tapos we have the terminal, no? A device that provides insulated ingress for the conductors. Circuit, no? So that is a complete path for the electricity. So kaya nakalagay dito, a conductor, a system of conductor to which an electric current is intended to flow. Circuit breaker naman is same pa rin ang definition for the PEC Part 1. So it is a switching device capable of making or carrying and breaking current under normal circuit condition, and also making, carrying for a specified time and breaking currents under abnormal conditions. So such those of short circuit. Clearance, no, which is ang may pinakamaraming standard, no, for PEC Part 2, yung mga clearances. The clear distance between two objects measured surface to surface, no, and usually filled with gas such as air. Ito naman, no, climbing, the vertical movement, either ascending or descending, and horizontal movement to access or depart the work site, no. So kaya kasama ito ang climbing, kaya sabi ko nga included dito yung pag-i-install ng mga poste. Common use, the simultaneous use by two or more utilities of the same kind. So kunya sabi nating common use post. So ibig sabihin yung yung poste na yan, dalawa yung gumagamit na utility company, no? Either that is common post for the two utility companies or a common post for the distribution and the transmission company. Okay, so conductor, so a material usually in form of a wire cable or bus suitable for carrying electric current. So dito meron tayong bare conductor, bundled conductor, covered, grounded, grounding, and insulated. No? So yung bare, walang covering. Yung bundled, so bundle of two or more conductors used as a single conductor. Tapos meron na siyang mga spacing or spacers, no? Para hindi sila magpang-abot, no? Or may insulated spacer. Covered naman is covered with a certain insulating material, no? So yan yung covered conductor. Grounded conductor, so ito yung natawag nating sa atin sa term natin, ito yung natawag neutral, but basically neutral is different from a grounded conductor kasi yung grounded conductor that is intentionally grounded. So usually yung system natin lalo sa mga sa mga provinces, so yung ating grounded conductor is the neutral. So ang tawag natin dyan is grounded neutral, no? Yung grounding naman, yan yung conductor that is connected, no, to our equipment papunta doon sa ating grounding electrodes, no? Papunta nagaling din sa mga metal parts ng ating system, no? Yung insulated conductor naman is a conductor which is covered, no, with a dielectric, no, which is permanent or part, no, na ng ating cable. Kasi itong covered, it is not part or it is not permanently part, no? So kunyari, yung ating bus bar is nilagyan na natin ng parang insulated tape, so that bus bar is considered a covered conductor. Okay, but if insulated conductor, so yung mismong wire may kasama na siya na insulation. Okay, lateral conductor, so a wire or cable entity supported on one structure and extending in general horizontal, vertical, or diagonal direction to make connections to line conductors, service draft, equipment, and other facilities supported on the same structure. Okay, so lateral conductors may be attached directly to the structure or supported away from the structure. Then you have also line conductor, no? Overhead supply or communication line. So a wire or cable intended to carry electric currents extending along the root of the pipe, which is supported by poles, no? Towers or other structure, no? So yung at ating lateral, so it is supported, no, on one structure extending in the horizontal, no? Ito namang ating line conductor is route, no, in route of the line supported by poles, no, but not including vertical and lateral conductors. Open conductor, so a type of electrical supply or communication line construction in which conductors could be bare, covered, or insulated, but do not have a grounded shielding or an individually supported at the structure either directly or with insulator. If we have a vertical conductor, either a wire or cable riser attached to a pole or a vertical portion of a lateral conductor. So yung mismong naka-vertical wire, either that is for grounding or for support purposes ng ating mga post. You have conductor shielding, an envelope that encloses the conductor of a cable and provides equipotential surface in contact with the cable insulation. So meaning ating shielding ng ating cable is also conductive part itself, no? So that is to maintain an equipotential surface. So meaning the surface of that cable is not grounded, no? Conduit. So a structure containing one or more ducts. So yan yung conduit. Iba yung conduit sa PEC part 1, sa PEC part 2. Conduit system, any combination of ducts, conduits, manholes, handholds, and vaults joined to form an integrated whole, no? So yung conduit sa PEC part 1, tubo. Dito naman is mga ducting. Okay. Current carrying part, a conductive part intended to be connected in an electric circuit to a voltage source, no? Non-current carrying parts are those not intended to be connected. de-energize or ang de-energize, it is disconnected from all sources, no, of electrical supply by open switches, disconnectors, jumpers, taps, or other means. Tapos delivery point, the point at which one utility delivers energy or signals to other utility. Tapos designated person, a qualified person designated to perform specific duties under the condition existing. So then you have disconnecting or isolating switch. That is a mechanical switching device used for changing the connection in a circuit or for isolating a circuit or equipment from a source of power. Okay. Then we have duct, no, a single enclosed raceway for conductors or cables. No, if it is now made of a group of ducting, so ang tawag na din is conduit. Okay. Then we have effective ground or effectively grounded. So katulad pa ito sa definition for part 1. So they are connected effectively to the grounded neutral conductor or to the grounding system. Tapos effectively grounded neutral, a conductor that is intentionally connected to the source transformer neutral directly through an impedance to limit the face-to-face ground fault current and has no less than 4 grounds in each 1.6 kilometer of line. So yung ating neutral na naka-connect sa sa lupa or naka-ground. Electric supply equipment. Equipment that produces, modifies, regulates, controls, and safeguards a supply or electric energy. Okay, so yung ating mga transformer, generator, so they are considered as electric supply equipment. Then electric supply station, so any building or rooms or separate space with which electrical supply equipment is located. So iba-iba yan. So if yung ating electrical supply station is nandun yung ating generator, ang tawag dyan is generation station. So doon nagagaling yung electrical energy. If such electrical supply equipment modifies our electrical energy or doon naka-in-house yung ating transformer or power transformers, ang tawag dyan is substation, no? Enclosed, no? Katulad pa rin to ng definition for the PEC part 1, no? Kapareho lang sa PEC part 2. So it is surrounded by a case cage or a fence, no? So, which is used to protect the equipment from accidental contact or dangerous approach by persons or object. When we say energize, so ibig sabihin no naka-on, so there is now a voltage or it is connected to a potential difference. Equipment, so katulad ng definition pa rin sa part 1. So it includes fittings, devices, and appliances, everything that is used in the installation of electrical supply and communication system. Exclusive control, it means that covers installation, ownership, restricted access, operation, and maintenance by qualified or unauthorized person. Exclusive control of utility, meaning so a certain area is separated from public access by a physical barrier and accessible only to qualified, authorized by the serving utility. Then the utility responsible for connection or disconnection of such facilities to and from energized sources of energy or signals. So kapag exposed naman, so it is not isolated nor it is guarded. Okay. Then we have fall arrest system, no? So this is an assembly of equipment such as line workers body belt, aerial belt, or full body harness in conjunction with connecting means with or without an energy absorbing device and encouraged to limit the forces of worker which could be experiencing during a fall, no? So yung safety, no, from falling. So yan yung ating fall arrest system. Then we have fall protection system, a system which may include positioning device intended to prevent worker from falling. Tapos fall protection program. So a program intended to protect workers from injury due to fall from elevations. The fall protection system, which is the hardware, consists of either a fall prevention system or a fall arrest system. The fiber optic cable communication, that is a fiber optic cable meeting the requirements for communication and question line are located in the communication space or overhead of the underground facility. So this is the wires for fiber optic internet, no, or fiber optic communication. Then we have fiber optic cable supply. So this is the located on the supply side, no, of the fiber optic supplying company o yung mga company na nagpo-provide ng internet, no. Fireproofing or of cable, so the application of fire resistant covering to our cables. So kaya tawag siyang fireproofing pa rin. Grounded, so that is connected to or in contact with earth or ground, either that is intentionally or unintentionally. Tapos yung grounded system, so a system of conductor in which at least one conductor or point is intentionally grounded, either solidly or through a non-interrupting current limiting device. Then we have guarded, so covered, fins enclosed or otherwise protected by means of suitable coverings or casings, barriers, rails, or screen mats or platforms designed to limit the likelihood under normal conditions of dangerous approach or accidental contact by persons or objects. So meaning the equipment is guarded so that it will prevent, no, the accidental contact of persons. So either that is covered, no, intentionally covered siya, or may fins. Okay? So magte-take muna tayo ng 10-minute break, no? We will back at 9:10, no? So to have a para ma-digest natin yung ating mga discussion for tonight. So we will take a 10-minute break. Okay, yan. So, balik tayo, no? So, sa ating mga definitions. So, tapos sa guarded, so we proceed to the next batch of definitions. So, we have handhole, no? So, an access opening provided in equipment or in below the surface of enclosure. So, basically, the purpose of the handhole, ilalagay siya equipment. So, for the purpose of installing, operating, or maintaining the equipment or a cable or both. Yung harness naman, so it is, alam natin kung ano yung harness, so it is used to protect the worker from falling. So yan yung harness. So it is usually used to protect, no, yung ating torso, no, tapos to distribute the forces on the upper thighs, pelvis, chest, and shoulder, no, which means attaching it to other components and subsystems. Okay, then we have in service, so lines and equipment that are considered in service when connected to the system and intended to carry or deliver energy or communication service. So yung mga yung mga lines na ginagamit, so that is in service. Insulated, so any current carrying conductor or material that is separated from conducting surface, no, or other by a dielectric or an insulation. So insulation has applied to cable, so that which is relied upon to insulate the conductor. Tapos insulation naman, no, isolated by elevation. So it is elevated so that the person may safely walk underneath. So this is specifically applicable for underground installations. Jacket, no, a protective covering over the insulation core or shaded of cable. So usually this type, yung mga wire na may mga jacket, yung mga TTHHN, so the nylon coating. So meron din mga wire na mga for transmission lines na which are jacketed. So that is additional, no, protection for the insulation para yung mga insulation hindi siya madaling masira. Joint use, so simultaneous use by two or more utilities. Lanyard, a flexible line or waving rope, wire rope or strap that generally has a connector at each end to connecting the line worker's body. So itong lanyard, this is also part of the fall protection system. Limited access highways as used herein. So limited access highways include both fully controlled highways and partially controlled highways where access is controlled by the governmental authority for the purpose of improving traffic flow and safety. So yun yung mga limited access highways. So basically yung mga highways natin na kung saan we are going to install traffic lights. Then we have lines. So we have many types of lines, no, na kasama sa ating PEC Part 2. The first one is communication lines. So may iba't ibang klase yan. We have the located in the communication space. So usually their potentials is not to exceed 400 volts to ground or between 750 between any points, and transmitted power which does not exceed 150 watts. So when operating at not more than 90 volt AC or 150 DC, no limit is placed on the transmitted power of the system. So it is usually yung mga fiber optic cable natin ay yung mga data cable. Then located in supply space. So the communication lines located in supply space and meeting as approved may operate at any voltage, include supply circuits of any voltage, and may be included, no, within supply conductor or cable operating at any voltage. So if that is located on the supply space, provided na mayroon siyang sariling, provided it will have clearance over this other type of lines, which is the electrical supply lines. So wires, conductors, and cables used to transmit electrical energy, no, under necessary support containing structures, equipment, and apparatus, so that are used to provide public or private electrical supply or lighting services. So signal lines for more than 400 volts and traffic signal lines of any voltage are always considered to be supply lines within the meaning of this rule. So kasama kahit yung supply lines for our traffic signals, no? O, na yung voltage is more than 400 volts. Yung ano naman, yung signal lines of less than 400 will be considered as supply lines if so run operated throughout. Joint use lines, so overhead or underground lines containing or supporting facilities of two or more utilities. So line containing or supporting facilities delivering two or more types of service by the same owner, such as electricity, lighting supply service, telephone, and CATV communication service. No, are not considered as joint use lines unless accompanied by one or more lines of another utility company. And here we saw manhole for underground installation. So these are subsurface enclosure that personal personnel may enter, no? So yung pwedeng pasukan. So it is katulad ito ng manhole na nasa mga septic tank natin. Manhole cover, a removable lid that closes the manhole. Manhole grating, grid that provides ventilation and protective cover for manhole opening. Manual, so ito yung opposite ng automatic, no? So kailangan ng human intervention to operate a certain machine, no? Minimum approach distance. So the closest distance a qualified employee is permitted to approach either an energized or grounded object. And multi-grounded and multi-grounded system or multiple grounded system. So a system of conductor in which a neutral conductor is intentionally grounded solidly at specified intervals. No? So a multi-grounded or a multi-grounded system may or not be effectively grounded as long as it is intentionally connected to ground. So neutral conductor, a system conductor other than a phase conductor that provides return path or return path for current to the source. So not all systems have a neutral conductor. So an example is an ungrounded delta system containing only three energized phase conductors. So wala siyang neutral, pero meron siyang yung three phase na yun. So the each other's line will serve as the other's return wire, no? Out of service, so lines and equipment are considered out of service when they are disconnected from the system, no? And they are not delivering the required energy or communication signal. So yung mga line na hindi na ginagamit. Okay, over voltage. So if there is an uh, voltage no, between 2 points that is greater than the normal value or the highest value, no, for normal conditions. So yun ang over voltage. Pad mounted equipment. These are terms describing enclosed equipment. The interior, which enclosure is grounded potential. No? Yung example for this one are the pad mounted transformers. No? Then positioning device system, a system of equipment or hardware that is used when its line worker's body belt or full body harness allows a worker to be supported on an elevated surface. Then we have position strap, no? Kasama pa rin to doon sa ating harness. A strap with snap hooks to connect the D designs of line workers, body belt or full body harness. Then premises, so that is the land and building of a user located. So yung area na nasa loob na ng property line no ng may-ari. So that is what considered as premises. So pag premises wiring, so ito premises to, not premises, no? So premises wiring. So those wiring that is now inside, no, the area of the owner of the building. Pre-stressed concrete structures. So these are concrete structures that include metal tendons that are tensioned and anchored either before or after the curing of concrete. No? So this is included because yung ibang mga poste natin are now concrete. Then polling iron. So an anchor secured in the wall, ceiling, or floor of a manhole or vault to attach rigging used to pull cable. Tapos pulling tension, that is the longitudinal force exerted on a cable during installation. So usually kapag nag-i-install ng mga distribution lines, so kini-consider yung pulling tension. That is to prevent the line from to prevent the wires from from breaking, no, kapag nag-install na or na cable pulling na doon sa sa distribution lines. Qualified, no? So having been trained or demonstrated adequate knowledge, no, either that is through installation or construction or any other skill. So if Ang ano doon, the way for a person to be qualified, so dapat meron siyang tamang training, no? So if, for example, if you are an electrician, so you are a qualified electrician, if you have undergone proper training at you have the certificate to uh, to prove, no, na nakakuha ka na or nakadaan ka na ng ganong training. So that is what we mean by qualified as to PEC Part 2. Then a qualified climber, a worker who by reason of training experience understand the method and has routinely demonstrated proficiency in climbing techniques and familiarity with the hazard associated with climbing. So usually our linemen are also considered or trained to be qualified climber. Kasi dapat kasi yung mga lineman natin nag-aayos yan ng mga distribution lines. No? So dapat you must know what are the techniques and the methods, no, proper methods on climbing post, no, or vertical structures. Tapos alam mo din yung mga safety precautions at safety equipment. Ito yung mga hazard na pwedeng ma-encounter, no, in working on heights. Tapos raceway, any channel design and used slowly for holding conductors. Random separation, no, is told with less than 300 separation and without deliberate separation. So if a certain spacing, for example, between a power line and a communication line is less than 300 ang tawag doon is random separation. Okay, remotely operable as applied to equipment. So capable of being operated from a position external to the structure. So parang remote access, no? Restricted access naman where exclusive control is maintained. So hindi lahat pwedeng maka-access. Roadway, so the portion of highway including shoulders for vehicular use, no? Then rural districts, all places not urban. So this may include thinly settled areas within the city limit. Then sag, so yung sag natin is yung part na downward for our distribution lines or lines. So the distance measured vertically from a conductor to the straight line joining its 2 points of support, no? Unless other stated in the rule, the sag referred to is the sag at the midpoint span, no? Initial unloaded sag, the sag of conductor prior to the application of the external load. In the final sag, so the sag of a conductor under specified condition of loading and temperature after it has been subjected for an appreciable period and the loading removed. So final sag shall include the effect of inelastic deformation. So basically, ang sag pertains to or caused by sometimes the weight of the wire or yung mga weight ng mga devices that we attach to the distribution lines, no? So there is a certain there is a certain standard that the sag dapat ito lang yung vertical distance ng sag. O yun, laylay, no? Sag that is to prevent your voltage to ground na na tawag doon na na measurement, no, between the lines and the ground para hindi magkaroon tayo ng grounded system or ng ground fault. Yan. Okay, so separation, so or the other word for this one is the clearance. So measured surface to surface and usually filled with solid or liquid. So yung clearance usually is air, habang yung separation naman either solid or liquid, no? Service drop, overhead conductors. Alam na natin yan. So PC part 1 pa lang. Service point, the point between the facilities of the serving utility and the premises wiring. No? So yung boundary between the area ng ng may-ari tapos yung sa public, no? Yung area na to area of the distribution utility, yung boundary ng dalawa, yun yung service point. Then you have shield wire, so also referred to as overhead ground wire, static wire, or surge protection wire. These are wires or wire may or may not be grounded, strung parallel to and above phase conductors to protect power system from lighting strikes. No? Tapos shoulder, a portion of the roadway contiguous with the traveled way for accommodation or stop vehicles for emergency. Yung mga natin sa highway, yung may parang kunting kunting kanto na kung saan if there is case of emergency doon paparada yung ating mga sasakyan. So tawag yun is shoulder. Sidewall pressure, the crushing force exerted on a cable during installation. So sidewall pressure ang tawag dyan. Then single grounded, uni-grounded system. So these are group of conductors or system of conductors in which one conductor is intentionally grounded solidly at a specific location. Ang spacer cable naman is a type of electrical supply line construction consisting of an assembly of one or more covered conductors separated by each other and supported from messenger by insulating spacer. So may spacer yung ating mga lines. So that is spacer cable. Spacing, so the distance between two objects measured center to center. So clearance, surface to surface, air ang nasa gitna. Separation, surface to surface, liquid or solid ang sa gitna. Yung spacing naman is center to center, yung distance between two objects. Span length is the horizontal distance between two adjacent support points of a conductor. So span is the distance ng yung layo ng bawat poste from each other. So that is span. Span wire is an auxiliary suspension wire that serves to support one or more trolley contact conductors or a lighting fixture and conductors that is connected to supply a system. So usually yung ginagamit to fix the support, no? Yung mga ng ating mga post. So that is span wire. To structure conflict, a line so suited with respect to a second line that overturning of the first line will result to contact between its support structures and the conductor. So structure conflict is nagkakaroon ng problema doon sa ating mga lines. In case hindi siya naayos, so it will either create a fault or pwedeng mabali yung ating mga lines. Then supervised installation, so where conditions of maintenance and supervision ensure that only qualified persons monitor and service system. So if an installation is supervised, so we could be assured that yung natatrabaho doon are qualified persons. Supported facility in a component of overhead lines that is supported on but is not intended to provide structural strength to the supporting structure or mechanical support system. So kunyari transformer. So transformer sa isang post that is a supported facility that is installed there for the purpose of modifying the supply, but it is not installed there to help to help na yung poste natin is makatindig, that is supported facility. The supporting structure is the main supporting unit, usually a pole or a tower used to support and or communication conductors, cables, and equipment. So we have also the definition for readily climbable. So that is a supporting structure that has handholds or footholds, na pwede agad maakyat ng mga lineman. Kapag not readily climbable, so wala siyang mga handrails, na pwede siya ano ma, ma agad, or meron siyang handrails pero yung distance niya is medyo mataas. So you will require additional bracing or uh, additional equipment, to climb those type of posts. Tapos nito yung guy wires. Okay, surge arrestor. So we know what is a surge arrestor. It is a device that limits surge voltages, So kasama sa surge arrestor natin is the lighting arrestor. You have susceptiveness, the characteristics of communication circuit, including its connecting apparatus, that determine the extent to which it is adversely affected by the inductive fields. So the reason nga bakit dapat may spacing yung ating supply line at yung ating communication line is because our supply line, if sobrang lapit, it will emit electromagnetic interference na pwedeng maka-interfere sa ating signal lines or communication lines. So kaya mayroong spacing. So the ability, o yung tawag doon, yung extent, na kung saan pwedeng maapektahan yung ating communication circuit ng ganun na mga interference, from our supply lines is what we called as susceptiveness. So there is a way also para yung ating mga communication lines will not be affected, no? Lines is also enclosed, no? In a certain material na kung saan pwede niyang ma-reduce yung interference ng electromagnetism from our supply lines. Okay? Then we have switch. So switch, we know what is the meaning of switch. So device for closing or changing the direction of a current. Switchboard, so a type of switchboard assembly consisting of one or more panels with electric device mounted thereon. No, kapag tag naman, so yung tagging ng ating mga equipment. So danger, people at work, yung mga ganon. So that is tagging or tag. Transferring is the act of moving from one distinct object to another. So kunyari, that is a vertical structure. If you are going to transfer to another vertical structure, so that is transferring. So mayroong mga precautions dan when it comes to transferring from another vertical structure to a certain vertical structure. Transformer volt, that is the location in which your transformer is being enclosed or in-house. So the portion of the roadway for the movement of vehicles exclusive of shoulders and full-time parking lanes. Tapos yung ungrounded system, so all of our conductors are not connected to ground. No? Unloaded tension, so initial, so the unloaded tension of conductor to application of any external load. Yung final ngayon is mayroon na tayong nilagay na external load. Tapos urban districts, so thickly settled areas, whether in cities or suburbs or congested traffic often occurs. So yung mga malalaki na syudad, so that is considered as urban districts. Utility, so ito yung ating distribution company, the distribution contractor. So they are the organization responsible for engineering and supervision of public, private electrical supply, communication, area lighting, street lighting, signal, and railroad utility system. In public utility, so dalawang klase yung ating utility of the public. So that is the entity na governed by our government, no? Or supervised by any agency that is part of our government. Kapag private naman, so example of that is the Meralco. So it is an entity that performs or provides one or more utility services to its own facilities, no? That is not governed by the government. Okay. Then we have utility interactive system. So an electrical power production system that is operating in parallel with and capable of delivering energy to a utility electric system. So yan yung utility interactive system. Yung utilization equipment, so alam natin ibig sabihin nito, ito yung mismo yung ating load. No, same lang to the definition for PEC Part 1. The volt is any structure or enclosure kung saan doon natin ilalagay yung ating equipment so that our equipment will be not readily accessible, tapos enclosed, and it is also guarded from accidental contact. So yun yung volt. Voltage, so we know what is voltage, so that is the effective RMS potential. We have voltage of circuit not effectively grounded naman, so that is the highest nominal voltage available between two conductors of the circuit. Voltage of a constant current circuit, so that is the highest normal for voltage of the circuit. Kapag voltage of an effectively grounded circuit, so that is the highest nominal voltage available between the conductor and the ground. So voltage to ground na voltage yan. Okay, so kapag voltage to ground, so it will also depend if the circuit is grounded. So yan yung highest nominal voltage. If ungrounded naman, the highest nominal voltage between the conductors which is concerned, no? So kapag yung system mo is grounded system, so iba yung voltage ng grounded system, iba yung voltage to ground niya ng grounded system compared to the voltage to ground ng ungrounded system. So mas malaki ng konti yung sa ungrounded system. So voltage to ground of a conductor, so that is the voltage of a conductor and ground, no? So wire sizes, so for this one sa PEC part 2, the Sizes of the wire expressed in square millimeter. Yan, no? Tulad pa rin ng PEC part 2, no? This unit as applied to solid round conductors is equal to the square of the conductor diameter expressed in millimeter multiplied. So ito yung constant na multiply 0.7854. So the unit as applied to stranded conductors is equal to the sum of the cross-sectional area of the individual conductors comprising the stranded conductors. Work site is the location kung saan there is a structure or equipment, no, in which the worker is climbing either horizontally or vertically. The worker is in position to perform the assigned work or task. Kunyari yung poste. So the poste is the work site itself. Okay? So now, so ito na yung ating mga questions, no, which pertains to the definition of terms. So let's have the first question. So what characterize a private utility company according to the definitions? So dito yung private utility company. So just put your answer on our chat box. Okay, so the correct answer, tingin ko tama lahat ng sagot. So that is letter A, no? Provides utility service exclusive to its own facilities. Next, who is considered an authorized person according to the code? So that is pertain to PEC Part 2. Alin dito yung authorized person? Yan. So the correct answer is, so tama din kayo lahat, no? Letter C, no? A person who has been authorized by the utility or its designated representative to perform the task. Okay, next. In the context of the code, what does ampacity refer to? So sobrang dali lang to, no? So, kasi pareho rin definition for PC Part 2 and Part 1 for this term. Okay, so the correct answer is letter C, no? The current carrying capacity expressed in amperes under stated thermal conditions. Okay, so the code in this code, how are standard wire sizes expressed? No, sa PEC Part 2, so ano yung sizes ng ating wire? Okay, so the correct answer is in square millimeters. Yan. Okay, which of the following entities falls under the category of a public utility according to the definitions of the Philippine Electrical Code Part 2? Public utility. Then dito, may nag-answer ng B, no? Yung iba, kaya ano yung answer nyo? Okay, so the correct answer is letter D, cooperative. So automatic if our electric utility company is a cooperative, so it is a public utility, no? Kasi sabi nila, in a cooperative, the members are the owners, no? So uh, kapag yung ating TU is a cooperative, yung member is yung mga consumer. The consumer is the public, so it is considered as a public utility. Next, what is the primary function of a surge arrestor as defined in this code or in this context? Sobrang dali yata nito ah. Okay. Tignan natin kung tama ba yung sagot. Okay, so the correct answer is to protect against excessive surge voltages. Yan. Okay, next. According to the definition, what is a work site when applied to fall protection? Example dito is yung poste, no? A post is considered as a work site. The correct answer is letter C, no? So the point of the structure, so after climbing, pwede nang magawa ng ating worker ang kanyang trabaho. Okay, next. What is the general description of a switchboard as defined in this rule or this code? Okay, and so the correct answer is letter D, no? A switchgear with panels and electric devices mounted on them. Okay. What is a utility interactive system in the context of electrical power production? According to the definition, ano yung utility interactive system? Okay, so the correct answer is letter B, no? A system capable of delivering energy to the electric utility supply system. Okay, next. According to the definition, what does susceptiveness refer in the context of communication circuit? Okay, so the correct answer for this one is letter C, no? So that is the characteristics that determines how much is the effect, no? For our communication, our signals by the inductive fields. Okay, next. In the context of equipment, what does remotely operable mean? Okay, so the correct answer is letter C, no, capable of being operated, no, from outside structure or in a safe location. Okay, next, according to the definition, where is a vault typically located? Okay, so the correct answer is letter C, either above or below ground, including in a building. Okay, next, how is a switch typically understood in the context of these rules? So yung pinaka characteristics ng switch. Okay, the correct answer is letter B, no, manually operable unless otherwise stated. Okay, next. According to the definition, where is an area considered to have restricted access? Ulit dyan yung sasabi nating restricted access. Okay, the correct answer is letter B. No, when access is limited to authorized personnel only. Okay, next. What what distinguishes a qualified climber according to the definition? Ano yung qualified climber? Okay, so the correct answer is letter A. No, a climber who has received training and has or demonstrated proficiency. No, climbing. Okay, what is the primary purpose of Okay, so the correct answer is letter C. It is an opening, no, to reach into the enclosure for the purpose of installation, operation, and maintenance. Okay, what is the definition of utilization equipment based on the Philippine Electrical Code Part 2? Okay, so the correct answer is letter C. Yan. Definitions of PEC Part 2 and its definitions. So all the terms defined. So next, tomorrow we'll be discussing the standards, no? Standards on grounding, spacing, and clearance. So yan yung i-discuss natin, no? So that will be chapter 2 and chapter 3, no? Yung mga clearances and the spacing, no? Okay. So if there's no question, so may tanong kayo, you could ask that one on our chat. If wala naman, then we will call it a day or call it a night, no? Have another session for tomorrow. So ilang linggo na lang, ilang araw na lang. And I believe, no? So you are now well equipped for the exam, no? Especially dito sa mga definition of terms. Yun, sa technical, we will have a discussion for that one. But I have also prepared a video sa technical na para sa mga refresher is ilalagay ko lang sa ating Google Classroom. No? So we will have a separate discussion maybe on Thursday for the for the remaining topic on the technical. Tapos meron tayong parang doon parang ano term doon? Parang um parang i-run through natin lahat, no, especially those topics na medyo nakakalito. Yan. Yun, parang final, no? So, yung tungkol pa sa sinabi ko kagabi, no? So, I'll just be sending that one. At I believe siguro hindi naman totoo, no? Yung chinat ko, na-chat ko kagabi, no? So, yan lang, no? So, I hope you've answered really the PEC Part 1 pre-board. Tapos, siguro on Saturday, we will have the pre-board, no? Dalawang pre-board for the technical and the PEC na So, 100 items yun na ilagay ko rin sa Google Classroom. Tapos, for Friday, we will have the final coaching. Yan, final coaching to yung tawag. Kalimutan ko tuloy. Okay, so I believe that will be all for this evening. No? So bukas, same time tayo pa rin 8 to 10. And I hope, no, yung sa mga hindi pinalad na ma-approve, so just lang, no? I-ano nyo lang yung mga videos, no, na sinend ko. Save nyo yung link, hindi yung link is hindi yun yung video na link hindi yun mawawala, no? Hindi ko yun i-erase. So para maano nyo pa rin, kita nyo pa rin. Okay? So have a pleasant night ahead, no? We will have a discussion tomorrow. So have a good night's sleep and good luck for the upcoming exam. Okay? So we will now leave our Google Meet.